Okay, ladies and gentlemen, this is just a video to give sort of my own patent out, whichever way you want to call this. But inside of MK Ultra was also involved a Japanese gentleman who fascinated absolutely everyone with his invention on how to clean the lake. This is the man right here, you see.
Hi! The guy you see next to me is solving one of the hardest problems in the world.
That's
Hi,
correct.
my name is Marino.
But first, let me tell you,
This man is Japanese and he was involved in MK Ultra. The problem is when it comes to lakes,
what the problem is.
the problem
40% of the world's lakes and rivers.
I had to do something about it.
This scientist with a P to
Fix
really
my
brilliant
lake.
guy
he came up with a unique,
created a solution.
and this is so environmentally friendly that you between a clean and polluted water.
If I can clean this cup, then I can clean whole lake.
Yeah, that's right. That's really awesome. But the thing about this is this stuff is it's very expensive. I understand. So now this is Japan. I know that things are changing. They'll probably get also substitution cost-wise, God knows. But this stuff has been invented already quite some time long ago. They called me to actually they brought me to Japan way back already. I don't know, maybe the year I would go as far as like 2012, something like this, 2013. Yeah, I don't know when this stuff was published, but this thing was actually, he worked on this project for a very long time. And the thing is, Japan threw me into this, what you see right there, because of my interest to clean lakes, actually to answer on a desert issue, which people in the US, in Israel, and Arabs, UAE, are for people that exposed to desert conditions were affected the most. Their lakes, their ponds were affected the most due to temperatures, due to sun temperature. What you see right there is a combination of pollution and bacteria that explodes as a result of this pollution. This is not because it would be a plain stuff that would leak inside of the lake, but this is actually the result of the explosion of bacteria, result of this fertilizers, all kinds of stuff that goes inside and turns lake into, well, exactly what you see here. But you know, but that's basically where he stopped it. But I did not in my own research. He stopped right here with this stuff. But when it comes to, let's say, Arizona Lake, actually ponds in the US where it's like a desert conditions with the high temperatures, it's algae that basically kills the lake completely, that turns lake, anything that is inside, like fish life, everything. Yeah, you see this Orlando, but Orlando is not so bad because it's like a, you know, the whole Everglades, it's like a river basically. It's a river that goes all the way from North Florida through all the way to South Florida, and basically disintegrates into Atlantic Ocean, Gulf of Mexico, and so on. Okay, but to me the most impressive problem, so going through all these issues, going through industrial pollution, going through Um, I'm talking about this stuff because I I witnessed this natural phenomena since my age, since I became aware about fishing river, local rivulet here, river Kirka here. This is transmitted to you from the city of the Novel Mist. All right. Okay, listen. The problem is that the ponds, the lakes, in a conditions that are exposed to atmospheric conditions that reach very high temperatures, they become impossible to control. Because I saw this video, but also the guy was also involved because they brought me to the U.S. to this hot desert areas where people are trying to do exactly what I was not the one who started this stuff, right? The one who started with this stuff, I understand, actually were people in Canada. Okay, they already had something like this. I don't want to take credit for it, okay, but my idea was to water all the areas where the desert was and turn them into green. And under MK Ultra, I talked about a plastic, like a folium, something like this, that eventually would be used to block water from going out, and therefore the pond will retain the water from rain, from whatever, and with the water retained, the area would becoming greener and greener. It's something that Belarus, Lukashenko greatly have misused. Once he got a hold of this idea, which was done already in Canada, he wanted to claim credit to Chinese who absorbed this idea, and they started to develop this kind of foliums, a plastic like a 1 millimeter, 1.5 millimeter, and you can create yourself artificial pond even if ground is not solid enough to hold water, right? There is a special kind of land that is required, otherwise the water just goes through and disappears. It's sucked into earth, it's gone. So this was the first thing, right? So then the people in the US started to do that kind of stuff. Anyhow, Chinese who learned about this stuff, Canadians never gave me a credit for this stuff. They claimed they already had this stuff, but it's questionable. But they claimed they already had this stuff. We went to Canada, and then the next thing you see, it was a Lukashenko who started to produce this in Belarus. So they give this to the Russians. Whether the Canadians had this stuff or not, it's questionable. They claimed they did have ponds like this already created. So I'm not going to claim credit for it. There were people who gave me credit for this kind of stuff. It's my inventing that kind of stuff. But it's questionable. I don't want to have a credit for that stuff. And the next one who started to massively produce that kind of folium Um, that's exactly what I'm talking about. This kind of lakes like this was Chinese, who turned, because of my blah 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 under MK Ultra, half of the China green, and they appeared to be extremely grateful to me and Lukashenko, who tried to claim credit for this, basically for the theft that definitely came out of my mouth. They rejected him. They told him this is what he started first. This was his idea. Were really grateful to me, and I'm really pleased to see China doing okay. Don't get me wrong, China is on a completely wrong path politically wise. This became a violent schizo shit state that endangers anywhere from Vietnam, from Philippines, and all the way to Malaysia and Indonesia and so on. Literally already engaged in war against the Philippines. Of course, China have stolen in so-called South China Sea, which never was any kind of South China Sea. There is no China there. There is only Philippines and there is Vietnam. And the Chinese claimed the name first. The first thing they have done, they have stolen the name, the original names that Vietnamese and Filipinos had for the sea, and turned one into Chinese, Southern Chinese Sea. The next thing they did is they have stolen some Philippine property, Philippine islands. You know, the idea is the theft of entire sea, basically, to claim for themselves. And it's the kind of stuff that China is trying to violently implement, literally through demonstrating world the ability to murder, basically through the Taiwan, through the smaller countries in area, in their concept of treating people, like the way they mistreat the Uyghur community is completely indifferent. Actually, this is worse than what Hitler did, what Adolf Hitler did. Completely in line with Joseph Stalin or something like this, with the killing of Ukrainians, historically, Ukrainians and so on, in area, people in area. This is a country that I would love nothing more than heading to what it appeared to me. It's going to be okay. It's going to be alright. It's going to be the country that's going to be is going to contribute to other nations. Wants to be a country that is going to be active in the UN. Is a country that is going to contribute to humanity. Well, it turned out to be a total evil. Total evil, man. But anyhow, they started to fabricate this on a mass production. They started a mass production of this kind of stuff. And still, nevertheless, even if you have this kind of stuff, as you see right there, you're still going to face exactly this problem here. This is what then Americans told me. This is a tragedy. Well, in this hot areas, obviously, as you see this stuff green here, these trees, this is a big, tremendous help to the pond. That's like the main thing you want to do. One of the first things you want to do, you want to cool the lake by having trees around, create a little oasis and stuff like this. It's excellent, eh? But there is something else to this stuff. Here in Slovenia, and I think this is the most important stuff all through, maybe the biggest, what impressed me the most is the Japanese guy who invented the chemical, the substance that can be used to purify, to clean these lakes. And so when I was brought to the US, and it was people completely dismayed about that stuff, about how, how it's impossible, it's a problem, it's this, it's that, and then they try all kinds of shit. There was people that, they came to conclusion, well, because my father is from the fishing hardware. He's professional. He got school, and all this stuff was to him like, I mean, he tutored other people. He was taking care of all the waters at one time in Slovenia. At one time or another, they had him all over Slovenia, and he got his stuff done in Belgrade, because there was no school like this in Slovenia. After the Second World War, he had to go to Belgrade to attend this kind of academy or whatever, to complete one, and that's where he got his knowledge. And worked in the pharmaceutical company here in Kirkan. Had a chance to see from up close, to get answers on his own questions and stuff like this. And so the question to him that stimulated him into this issue foremost was not Arizona or anything like this, but it was the river here. It's called a Krka River, as I mentioned earlier. And this river has a tendency during the hot months, during the summertime, regardless of how they call this river a green beauty. You know, a green beauty is how they call this river, because it's of a green color, and you know, if you pay attention, it's like green. But the thing about it is that the color varies, basically. I should say clarity, not color. It's always green. But the thing is that in a winter time, it's clearer. It's you know, I go swimming in the winter time. I like swimming in the winter time. I like it because it's clear. It's clear. It's so freaking clear that when I step in the water, I can see in the shoe. Basically, I can see the shoes, my legs inside. It makes me feel good, because the lakes up north in the U.S., let's say a Michigan Lake, or you have you know, the Superior Lake. All these lakes I've seen, the water is clear. I have seen the ocean, sea water, due to salt, degree of salt is clear. And that's the kind of stuff that gives me pleasure. And it's really satisfactory also for other reasons. I started this stuff first time now in basically when I returned back from Poland in 2020, at the end of 2020, you know. So I didn't do this kind of stuff before. This is something new for me personally. And so it's really, it gives me a satisfaction, right? But in a summertime, this river turns wrong. It turns into exactly what I have demonstrated earlier. The problem a Japanese guy had a problem with. And so if I go back to this video here that I demonstrated you earlier about, and I want you to listen to this man. This is also for educated public, for the people that really quickly want to go over this, my patent, let's say, my invention, and listen to this gentleman. This is a professional. This is a stormwater service manager. He's from City of Wilmington. All kinds of physicians, engineers, all kinds of people involved in this stuff. And I think, guys, that you just somehow missed the point. All right, I don't think that. I think that to a certain degree, you're completely correct. However, it's a stuff that goes beyond that stuff, and I think that seeing through your eyes, basically, when in a search for solution, that you're just basically twisting in a circle that does not give you a chance to answer your problem, your dilemma. Because the main dilemma, basically the main thing in this case, is to keep rivers and um, lakes and ponds, if only possible, clean. Clean as much as possible, basically. Clear, so not this algae, all this boom through bacteria and all. It's not exactly that this would turn, that this would create a hazard to humans as far as swimming or something like this. That's not the case. But the thing is that, as I stated, I like it and you like it and everybody likes it. Clear water, fish likes that, everybody likes that. So why not to give a chance maybe to my patent today? Anyhow, today is the July the 7th. July the 9th, 2022. See what I have to say. But first, listen to this gentleman so that you will understand why I think that you guys are spinning in a circle. In a wrong circle that will not bring you to the right answer.
An algae thrives with the direct sunlight, very warm water temperatures. We're also getting these high-intensity rainfall events that brings in a lot more sediment and therefore phosphorus and nitrogen. So it's kind of been a triple storm of issues this particular year.
Greenfield Lake is the catch-all for over 2,000 acres of land around.
Okay, what the gentleman stated right there, that's absolutely the truth. That's exactly what he stated. That's exactly what it is. The water, the drainfall, it pushes inside fertilizers, chemicals, all kinds of stuff that would do a boom in a bacteria and algae growth and all that bad stuff that then turns lake into something something that I have seen with first enthusiastic faces of Americans like, yeah, I got my pond, boy, I got this, I got that, I got all kinds of stuff. And the next time when they brought me in there, it was like it was a small pond, and the guy completely frustrated. It almost looked like he had a war with something he possibly could not win, because this algae inside this bacteria was growing faster than what he could clean that small lake. He couldn't handle it anymore because the explosion, once the explosion started in the hot months, he just he couldn't handle it anymore. He was falling far behind, and eventually, yeah, you can do this stuff for some time, but you know, folks, eventually either you're gonna get tired out or definitely you're gonna grow old. You're gonna have to find somebody who's gonna do that for you or whatever, and definitely that's pricey and everything else. And so I was thinking about this for many years, and today I think, well, today I'm going to give you a solution. And about, I don't know, a few days ago, I think I found solution to all this stuff. So it's a solution I want to share with the world today, so that you can take the next step and keep these ponds, these lakes productive, grow fish in there, and go for a swimming in a, maybe, I don't know, rivers in a clear water. I don't know. If you would do this right here, I think in Slovenia, in this river, probably maybe you could even keep one clean, right? So what exactly am I so different about all this stuff? You know, everybody talked exactly what these gentlemen have spoken about. They all talked about rain. As a matter of fact, my father did not get that far first. My father claimed for many years that this is a normal phenomena due to simply due to temperatures which always was present. No, it was not present. I can tell you, I'm 50 years old, it was not always present. Not to the degree we started to witness more and more and more. We have gone through the certain categories with facilities that process wastewater that we did not have in the past. I have observed these pieces of whatever floated on the top of the river in a hot summer months. We used to have that kind of stuff. I observed it was not even a winter time that somebody who was not from here could have seen this white such a pena foam rolling down the river. It was in the middle of the summertime. You didn't have to be smart to know that that was not ice or snow or something like that, that these were chemicals. We've seen that stuff. We've gone through different categories. That's the kind of stuff that was present in the summer times. And then it turned out to be more and more and more, as we had for European Union, more and more fertilizers, more and more all kinds of stuff farmers got. Technology changed, and harvestry, farming boomed with this artificial all kinds of stuff, but not only necessary artificial whatever. And really in the summertime it started to get more and more and more. This kind of phenomena they refer to one as cooking. Really, the water temperature was hot. I mean, it really went on a temperature that you could swim all day long, whatever, to the temperature that trouts during the summertime, they could not survive. They would have to live up higher river due to lack of oxygen and temperature and so on. And my observing this for a very, very long time phenomena and questioning all this, issues like this gentleman, for instance, presented right here.
We're also getting these high-intensity rainfall events that brings in a lot more sediment and therefore phosphorus and nitrogen. So it's kind of been a triple storm of issues this particular year.
Greenfield Lake is the catch-all for over 2,000 acres of land around downtown Wilmington.
I was here, they brought me here,
It's
all this stuff everywhere.
a floating wetland almost seems like too easy of a solution.
I'm very excited about this because it relies on...
Yeah. Maybe today I'm going to give you a better solution to this stuff, About 14 days ago, maybe, I have no idea. That was the last rain we had. However, during this last rain, I noticed that it got cold, fresh. Usually, they refer to this in the city of the Novo Mesto as the air from the north, from up north, from direction of Austria, Gorenska region, Steyerska. And contrary to the previous storms we have had, this rain draining into the river remained clean. And I observed this stuff, and I was shocked because it was a little rain, even a little rain it was, before this last rain we had. And the only thing I have noticed is just with the little rain, the algae freaking exploded all of a sudden. the river turned into a pond, into this, just exactly what you have seen right there. It lost its clarity. It is just full of this bacteria. Boom. And you know, a few days ago it was exactly different. But so what is so much different? Why is it now this different? I think that's exactly what I stated to you. One rain was warm, of a warmer temperature, and another one from the north, it appears, that carried different temperature. It appears that was cooler, colder maybe even, for easier understanding what I'm trying to say. Thus, this reduces the issue of the drainage, rainfall into the river, into the lake, into the pond, into issue as per a rather temperature of the rainfall itself. Appears that if it's a cold weather, that it actually appears that it's got more to do than with what the gentlemen have spoken about. It appears it's got to do with a temperature of the rain that pushes all the minerals, fertilizers and everything into the river, where the gentleman said it explodes. No, in the process of this drainage into the lake, river, pond, whatever, that's basically already where and when the bacteria starts to transform itself into something that contributes in a total discoloration of clarity, and it turns the lake, river, pond, or whatever into something that is unpleasant for the eyes, whatever. Yeah, you understand? What I'm trying to say to you is that if it would be a cold rain that would be falling down, regardless of the amount of this rain, the river would remain clear. And I'm saying to you, I'm trying to explain to you that a small amount of rain, warm rain, however, can completely discolorize the river and turn one into something completely different. So now we go to the next step. And if you understood this, and you're gonna say, if you're in Arizona or in UAE, in Arab Emirates or Israel, you're gonna say, what? To me, this information is no good, right? Because it's hot, anyways, right? So you think I'm gonna get a cold rain here in a hot desert when it's so damn hot? No, I'm not thinking about this. I was thinking about something else. For this river here, and for you, the answer is not to, in this case, obviously, stop hot rain from leaking into the river. Basically, not leaking into the river, because when it's hot, it already brings the bacteria along that goes into the river, and then you have explosion of bacteria inside of the river, lake, whatever, pond. The main idea here is to, because you can't prevent this, the main idea here is to prevent vodotoke, therefore streams, branches of the river, let's say, to go directly into the river, because this drainage mainly comes and pollutes, actually turns, discolorizes river system, main river, through this rainfall, which brings already bacteria already. Basically this bacteria, this rainfall, before it reaches the river, this is already full of bacteria. This is already exactly what you see right there, that dirty thing, that muddy stuff that you see right there. That's exactly what it is. Yeah, it's not that the river turns like this because it's a because this is what it is. It's not because it would be because of the temperature alone, but it's because this kind of stuff that pushes inside of the river, lake, pond, this kind of issue. So I came up with a solution that, although it really is impressive, this kind of chemicals, maybe the best thing would be to just create separate, basically, streams and everything that brings, this act like a veins that bring it to the main one, with some sort of filter, basically, that you would filtrate already before it gets into the river, before it gets into the lake. Stop this exactly in a way what the gentlemen have explained, so that it would not reach the system itself, because no sir, this is not because this stuff is brought inside in there. This because it's already bacteria already is going. This bacteria is ready already. This bacteria travels through the ground. It's already developed right there on the field. When it touches the ground, the fertilizers and everything, and it's then drained inside of these streams, and this is the stuff that basically travels into the river system. Don't you worry about anything when it comes to the stuff that already is inside of the system, in the main water system, because that's exactly what it is. It's got less to do with minerals and all kinds of stuff, even with the fertilizer, even with the chemicals, with the stuff, than what you think. It's got all to do with a temperature of the rainfall, because this bacteria already is formed. Once it reaches the streams, it's already, that's exactly what it is. Yes, because if it's a cold rain, you don't think it's gonna push all these fertilizers and all this stuff inside of the river? Yes, of course it does. It's just the difference is it's cold, and so because it's cold, it's on a land already before it penetrates into the streams and so on, that somehow the bacteria does not develop, explodes inside of that rain. Okay, so don't you worry about even amount of this, of the presence of this, which of course is the problem now. But here the idea is to keep the river, pond, lake clear. Yeah, you understand the point? Till you're gonna find solution to all this stuff, you should just concentrate instead on a filter that would sort out the hot rain from spilling itself into the main water system. Therefore, every stream, possibly likely more than not, should have in fact a water treatment facility before it gets into the main river, regardless of how clean it is. If you want to keep the main stream clear, maybe you could turn Mississippi green, clear green. Who knows, why not? Can you imagine that you would go swimming in the Mississippi, that you would look into the Mississippi and it would be just clear water right in front of you, or you are somewhere, let's say in a desert place somewhere, and rather than to see this pond that is of a color of ground or whatever, you would place maybe the filter all around this pond, which, contrary to the Japanese gentlemen that have to spend a lot of money to clean this lake, you know, it's like they say, bolje preventiva kot curativa. It's better to prevent than to cure. Meaning that if, you know, I don't know what the cost would be of this kind of filter that you would place around the lake, but on a long term, I'm certain that it would be a truly insignificant when compared to some kind of water treatment facility producing this kind of chemicals, as he said, very expensive. I assume probably a perfect solution to any kind of solution to any kind of chemicals, concerning any kind of chemicals. It's a totally natural way to just stop this type of bacteria due to hot rain that is trying to get into the main water system before it reaches one. And what makes it even easier then is to rather to concentrate yourself on a cleaning of the whole lake, you just clean yourself, you just concentrate yourself on cleaning on a small area where the filter is. It makes your job basically easier. Now, if you can keep lake, river, pond, whatever, completely clean, right? A river you probably can keep completely clean like this because of what I stated, huh? Because this is always go by the categories, like from 1 to 5, the quality of the water itself. You know, this river's got 2.5, 3, 2.5, basically 2.5. From given 5 the highest, 1 lowest. Don't you worry, okay? Think about it like this, what I stated earlier, that this guy was cleaning this pond like crazy, and whatever that was, so in Colorado or it was in Arizona, wherever, Nevada, whatever, and eventually he couldn't do it anymore. He complained, he spent money, he did all kinds of stuff, got himself a net, did this. It was funny, this stuff. And eventually he was all frustrated. He says, oh, that's all there is, that's all there is. Okay, so today I'm telling you that's not exactly what it is. What I told you today is just the beginning, something that if you're going to pay attention to, I am very certain you won't even have to bother with when it comes to the lakes, the ponds in a hottest areas, areas where temperatures reach God knows how many temperatures. You will just concentrate on this filter, where maybe you can even add some form of chemical, something like this, that kills maybe the bacteria, something that's not harmful otherwise, and let it basically just go through and just remove that stuff that you need to remove, maybe even every day, I don't know. You hire somebody if it's for, let's say, entertainment purposes, like they have lakes in Israel, I have seen. You know, so that you keep fish inside swimming and stuff like this, and you keep it clean for the public to see, to enjoy, you know, the site. So that's basically what I was thinking about, and probably the quality of the water itself. God knows that other people know how to make that even, but you know, that maybe that will be like important step, filtration in any process you would decide you want to take, you want to do with your water. So that maybe would be just a simple water treatment filtration system, maybe much easier than which possibly you can imagine to install at the end of every stream that leads into a major water system. Or in case of ponds, in case of lakes, wherever you have something that is pouring inside, remember, it's already exactly that kind of stuff that you don't want. It's the one ready, not that it explodes when it reaches the lake, the river, the pond. That's coming in. Don't you even think about that. That's some kind of reaction inside of the river system. No, it's not. It's because of the temperature. That's already bacteria directly flowing inside of the system. That's the one you have to stop. And when it comes to the cold, we're just gonna say that's proof basically for my thesis, that's the one you don't have to worry about. The cold rain, the cold, that does not destroys, creates explosion of algae inside of the pond. Of course, there are other things. They asked me, I would recommend you, maybe if you have a pond, if you have a lake, to find a spot in your lake, in your pond, that you should dig deeper than your average depth level of the water, so that where the deepest the water, the coolest water is always down there on the bottom. The deeper it is, the coolest it is. If that's still a problem due to temperature, something like this, you may want to lay down some tubes, cement tubes or something like this. That huge tubes, maybe with diameter, I don't know, maybe 3 meters, 4 meters in diameter, 3 meters maybe in diameter tubes, cement tubes, right on the bottom of this pond, this lakes, so that it's always, that protects from the sun in this deepest area. You put them so it blocks the synthesis, the photosynthesis. It blocks the bacteria from exploding, at least in one part of this lake, and so on. And so rather than you're having, if you don't have some sort of stream that goes inside in there, you can use that maybe to, you know, as a spot to keep lake as cool as possible. Because I imagine that when it comes to lakes, ponds in a really hot areas, that really can be upgraded issue. That can be upgraded problem, that will turn such an explosion of this algae into bacteria, and that will turn into explosion of algae into completely different categories. So I think those are the things that you can add next to the trees you should form around your lake, pond, wherever it is. It should always be as green as possible, and you should try to expand it. You know, I was just thinking about to give you a little input, my patent on what I exactly would do if I had, if I wanted to keep the river clear if I wanted, if I had a pond, lake or something like this, what steps exactly I would take on to keep one, even I'm gonna say for as long as possible, clear. All right. Yeah, I don't know. The summer maybe can be, let's say, even 6 months long. Let's say that, during which your water may be completely discolored. However, I'm saying to myself, if you can reduce this 6 months into 1 month of discoloration of the water due to bacteria, that's freaking awesome, don't you think so? And you still manage somehow to get by those 5 months. You know, I'm just saying, you know, and maybe you can manage maybe to keep your system clean for entire year, God knows. I don't know, because I have not seen this stuff that anybody would try out this stuff. So maybe you want to try this, whatever you are, and good luck to you. No, it's not that rain brings into the main water system chemicals, fertilizers, and all that stuff. No, that's not the main problem of what these people were concerned about. The main problem was the bacteria that already licked inside. The bacteria then gets inside of the river system and so on, and it just becomes, of course, it explodes all over the water system. And then you have again a rain, and that rain is cold. There was no bacteria that was brought. So I'm just repeating this so you get the concept. So now it's a cold rain, and there was no bacteria that was brought inside the water through the streams into the main water system, because it was cold. And this cold even killed bacteria that previously have multiplied itself inside of the water system, this cold rain. And as a result, the water remained clear. That's all there is. So think about this issue, and maybe even drop me a comment. Let me know how that went along, if you did manage, how that would go. And the best of luck with your water system, whatever you are, to keep one, with your fish, with the stuff that you like to grow, in the best shape possible. That's all. Thanks for watching this video.